ooh, that gives me that much more time to try not to process it too much and freak out. All right, let me see here. My tube of you. Come on, YouTube, help me out here. Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. I think we're live. We're live. Okay. Ugh. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. And thank you for joining us once again, the Monsters of Gaming. I'm Colonel Kaiju K. With me here is General Juggernaut Jared.
Hello.
And Neo Comatant, Necro Nick. And folks, we're at the final step of our little challenge. Oh, God. So tonight we're going to be talking about Command & Conquer Generals, a game near and dear to my heart, Juggernaut's heart, and Necro's heart. Well, not so much Juggernaut's heart, but definitely towards ours.
Yes.
Because starting next Tuesday, the true nightmare begins. 40K.
I'm gonna just fall asleep for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, if you want to skip our live streams for the next 4 weeks after today, you can. But we don't mind. We don't mind at all. And of course, Tiny Trish is rocking in the background for whatever reason. I don't even know why she's part of this tonight, but she's here. And Mama Bear is, of course, currently at work. So, that all being said, Command & Conquer Generals is a real-time strategy game where you play as different groups from different parts around the world and attempt to basically kill each other. It's pretty fun pace. You play with mostly realistic vehicles. I mean, obviously, a flamethrower tank is not something you would use against a standard tank. Tanks that have spinning electrical arcs and people that can summon zombies from the ground or from crystals, they're a little far from the truthful thing, but there are Jeeps, there are Humvees, dozers that can somehow magically create structures and base defenses. The whole point is you build your base up and you try to kill your opponents. Now, of all the Command & Conquers out there, there's one that stands above them all in my book, and that's Command & Conquer Generals and Command & Conquer Generals Zero Hour. Both are fun, both are funky fresh, and both have a huge amount of fun. So, oh, dear Lord, yes, Necro, they hit their Jug, they do walk amongst us. No, okay, Jug, okay, I guess there goes that whole like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell mentality of his. But anyway, so how the game works is you build them up, but you also have these things called super weapons, which are basically like launching a nuke at somebody. Except for these two, they chose not to have a super weapon that launches nukes at people. But you'll see that these guys have a lot of similarities, and yet they promise me. They swear up and down that they did not communicate, but their generals are very similar. That being said, next week, of course, is the start of our 40K build 'em up. We'll start.
I didn't hear you right.
We will start on Tuesday with the background stories of our current armies of 40K.
What? I can't hear you.
And then the following weeks will involve us introducing our 40K infantries, our 40K vehicles, and our 40K aircrafts. And a long attempt for us to bring ourselves into the 40K universe.
Doug, are you having issues here? I can't hear Kyle all right.
That's fine. Don't worry. If you guys can't understand me, there's always a description written at the bottom. And if you can click on that little manuscript, it'll actually have everything I read out written down. So don't worry, Necro, if you have trouble reading it, they won't. Now, ironically, how Command & Conquer works, so there are three groups. There's the blue group, aka United States, Canada, and all their allies. Then there's the red group, the Reds, aka things like the Soviet Union, China, etc. And then there's the green states, which originally were things like Pakistan and Iraq, but now they've just become known as the red state, the super smart state. Or sorry, the blue states, the super smart. The red states, super strong, and the green states, well, we're going to hook you up with the weirdest and most evil trickery you can imagine. Ironically,
called
the GLA, or the Global Liberation Army. Ironically, and I don't know how this ended up happening, but each one of us, without realizing it, has actually picked one of those groups. So, we're going to start this off with a whiz-bang. We're going to start this off with Necro. Now, Necro has chosen to be a member of the GLA, or, as they like to put it, the bad guys. If you want to believe in the bad guys, you can. They're the group that I end up playing the most, so. Let's see here. Necro is the GLA. So what we did here is we took all the armies and we chose to replace certain units in it. So we still have some units from the army, some things that go on. So we're going to start off with Necro. Necro has chosen to be the medical general, aka the ganja general. I'm just kidding. There's more to it. Although he does smoke a lot of weed. Smoke weed every day. That should be his theme song when it comes out, you know. Choose Necro Nick, smoke weed every day. Anyway, that being said, Nick is the GLA, which means he is high trickery and low survivability. That being said, he is still, even with his intelligence and everything like that, high trickery and low survivability. His army is consisting of using his different types of drugs, medications, etc. And he hired on a few of the Arkham villains. And to create his army of vile creatures. So we'll start off with the bottom of the list and we'll work our way up.
I am completely against the Jiva's suggestion.
The Geneva suggestions, yes. I think we all are, actually. Actually, you know what? Out of all this, Jug is the closest to accepting the Geneva Convention. There is no rule saying you can't burrow underneath your opponents and kill them.
Yet. They might see this and now will.
After watching this video, they might. So we're going to go through a few of the soldiers. So we'll go through his infantry first. And let me tell you something. He has a weird infantry. So he starts off his infantry with a group I like to call the MD-47. These are medical doctors armed with AK-47s. They have a lot of different upgrades that involve medication and drugs, but basically they're there to shoot down enemy aircrafts and to shoot enemy infantry. Not the strongest, but they still can do things in big groups. The halogen RPG troopers fire rockets that have a chemical reaction in them, which causes enemies to hallucinate. If an enemy begins to hallucinate, they'll begin to fire randomly, even possibly firing upon their own allies, which allows Necro a chance to hit and run. And he should probably run before they realize who the actual target is. He also has these individuals who have a thermite weapon, aka his thermite terrorists. So unlike standard terrorists that run up and explode in the game, mind you, these soldiers use a special weapon that sprays out a thermite cloud, a special dust of it, and then fires a thermite rod through it, which ignites it and causes it to detonate. And if they die, they also leave a cloud behind that can also detonate. Very nasty guys. Don't want to be anywhere near them. Fight in the air if you can. Just be careful saying the word that begins with P and ends with the E. Somebody here has a problem with that. Necro also has his battlefield doctors, which he's bringing into the field. These guys are armed with bullpups, which they have stolen. They have the ability to heal nearby infantry and vehicles, and they have access to drug and medical upgrades as well. If you guys would like to know more about...
we just liberate.
If you guys would like to know more about these armies, just set it in the comments. We'd like to know more about it. We will get you more details about them. We also have his demo jackers. These individuals can set anti-pilot mines, which will detonate and kill pilots and vehicles. They're armed with rifles, and they can climb over mountains. His MD saboteurs are very, very nasty. So these guys are similar to the saboteur group that you can find by looking it up. They can capture enemy structures. They're invisible unless they're detected. They have good stealth. They can climb cliffs. And any building that they capture for the next minute will slowly leak out halogen gas again, which will once again cause enemies to begin opening fire in random directions, fake alarms, etc. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Oh, fun stuff. And those are his infantry soldiers. Pretty easy, pretty straight to the point. He has, out of all of us, he has the most basic infantry. But then again, as GLA, he doesn't need anything special. Just remember that he's going to be doing things like firing chemical bullets, and he'll be basically unaffected by radiation, poison, etc. by all his upgrades. So if you're fighting him with some kind of general that specializes in those, you're not going to be able to do a good job against him. Next up, we get into the vehicles. Now the vehicles are where he put most of his thought process, seeing as the GLA is well known for their vehicles. That being said, however, let's go on. First off, he has his medical technicals. These are actually interesting. So they're a truck. They can hold 4 soldiers inside that can fire from outside of it. They have a healing aura and drug-related abilities, including things such as leaving hypnotic clouds, firing grenades that have different chemicals, etc. His medical scorpions, which are a light armored tank, are basically the same, just as they usually would be. They just have different shells which are covered with chemicals. He has his thermite tank, which is just a bigger, stronger, nastier version of his good old thermite troopers. Once again, don't want to be in the middle of anything with him. He does a lot of AoE damage and AoE screw ups. I'm going to skip those three real quick. I'll come back to them. I'll just highlight these real quick. You'll understand in a second. Plus, I don't want to set off Juggernaut this early. He has his mobile drug bus. So what the mobile drug bus is, it's the magic school bus, if you will, but a different type of magic. You can only build one of them, and they can hold up to 8 workers. For each worker inside, they gain a little bit of cash over time through the sales of medication, but they also increase the cost and the purchase time of all enemy units and upgrades. Basically, by spreading the drugs back and forth, he can pick here, pull there, twist there, hang there, and have people slowly. We have to ship these rifles out in a week, and then a bag of drugs rolls into the screen. I mean, 2 weeks. That kind of thing. They're stealth, but they can't fight back, so if you can find them, you're good. Now, interesting weapon. This is one of the ones. Is his thermobaric tank. However, unlike how normal thermobarics works, his works by just sucking the air out of the area. So he fires at an enemy troop convoy and just sucks all the oxygen out. He can kill all the infantry that's in it, and then run with his soldiers and take off the vehicles and run away with them. Fun, easy, to the point. Then he's got his medical bomb truck. So bomb trucks are a nasty vehicle. They can be upgraded to explode and even detonate to nuclear explosions, and they're stealth. Necro will spread his foundation as a medication all over, helping heal everyone. Even if it means putting them in the hospital first so he can heal them later. And then he's got his medical Scud launcher, which is a small but very dangerous artillery piece that fires a long-range missile that, when detonates, well, it spreads even more of his drugs and medication around, including thermite if he chooses to use that upgrade. So as you can see, Necro is a tricky, tricky little bastard. And he's very hard to pin down because he's just going to keep spreading his little friendship all over the map. But unfortunately, now I have to bring the part that might set off Juggernaut. So everyone, warning ahead of time. So warning ahead of time. But unlike most GLA officers, Necro actually has access to an airfield, which means he has access to planes. Joe, you okay?
Only one.
We good? You
Nope,
good?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
making sure. And 2 blimps. So his first plane is called the Duster. So this is a airplane that has a machine guns that can attack infantry, light vehicles, aircrafts. Nothing too big, but it can also deploy gas clouds everywhere it goes, like a crop duster would. So basically, Necro can use it to fly into a base, drop a couple puffs here, to puff there, to puff there, and just screw with everything you can possibly do. Next up is the White Christmas Zeppelin. This is his super vehicle. This is a super tank. It's a massive, slow-moving aircraft. Very high health. It deploys tons of medicine and drug-related demolitions. Basically, it's armed with several long-range cannons and mortar strikes, so it just slowly starts going towards a base and just blanking at it with the most fun and amazing chemical combination you can imagine. And explosions. I certify this message. And finally, last but not least, he has his Eye in the Sky blimp, literally called Eye in the Sky. This is where Necro basically gets his radar. It has a huge AoE. I'm talking a good portion of the map. It's unarmed. It can be upgraded with a general promotion to allow it to spot enemy structures and call in dusters to fly off screen and attack it, which is pretty cool, which means he has a constant supply of dusters just constantly flying through and dive bombing and dusting an area, while this Eye in the Sky stays safe out of range, stealth, unseen. We're almost done with Necro, but as you can see, Necro's been quite fun. Next up comes Necro's little upgrades here for his other command centers. So his command center has radar and power. And he has a really weird ability with it, but I like it. It's called Potency. And basically, when nearby allies use chemical weapons and upgrades, they'll have twice the effect. So if he has a couple of his couple of his drug vehicles, like a couple of his medical. Geez, hang on a second. Sorry, I had a complete mind blank. My apologies. I'm sorry. There's a couple of medical technicals nearby. Their medical weapons will have twice the range and twice the impact and twice the duration. So attacking his base actually becomes very difficult. His supply stash holds worker upgrades, and stash of stuff. His black market allows him to purchase and create stolen blueprints, which is one of his general powers. His palace is the same, but has the ability to give off an aura that'll heal nearby vehicles, as well as to have 5 soldiers inside that can shoot from outside of it. His stinger sights are underground hidden scud launchers, just like his vehicle, which allows him to attack enemies who come near his base. He has the cloud bunker, which I really like. This is a really cool idea. Basically, imagine a couple of his troopers with gas masks on inside of a little dome that they can fire from, and it just spreads chemicals over a large area. This means he can have 3 of his soldiers hidden underneath this thing while it's spreading hell. And then last but not least, let's talk about his super weapon. Now, like I said, everybody has a super weapon. He is no different. So Necro's little weapon here. Now, guys, like I said, remember these weapons. Remember these weapons. It will come back later on. I promise you, it'll come back later on. So Necro has the hallucinogen shell. So if you might ask, what's the hallucinogen shell? Well, it has a 5-minute cooldown. Just kidding. It only has a 3-minute cooldown. It's a large artillery piece that fires a big shell. And wherever the shell lands, big explosion, dust, it stealths, and it begins spreading the hallucinogen gas. This will last for 1:30 unless that thing can be found and shut down, which means the entire enemy base is now flipping shite. They're chasing a buzz, they're chasing the leprechaun, they're shooting each other, they're blowing up buildings, they're selling Hot Pockets from the freezer and they're still eating them, that kind of nasty stuff. You don't want this in your base. Don't want this in your base at all.
Find out there's an imaginary Taco Bell nearby.
Yeah, they'll run and start eating at the imaginary Taco Bell, which is actually them sitting on cactuses, eating cactus. Yeah, you just don't want that. And that right there, that is Necro Nick, aka the medical doctor. You come for the prescription, and you say, "Because you're dead." I'm just kidding. Like I said, if you want to know more about the hallucinogen general, aka the medical doctor, or medical general, you can just leave a message below saying you'd like to, or if not, we will move on to the next general. The next general on this list is Juggernaut, and Juggernaut is representing the good old USA or some country in this area. He can be representing Canada if he wants. It would make a lot of sense with what he does. He can even be Mexico, which makes even more sense with what he does. Oh my god, I just realized that. So Juggernaut is the digging general, aka the tremor general, aka the quake general, or as I like to call him, the diggy hole general.
So that's how they're getting across our borders, Jug.
So now Juggernaut might seem like a laid-back guy, and he is. He's a laid-back guy, and as you know, Juggernaut is the pacifist of our group. Juggernaut does not like violence. Try to remember what I just said. He doesn't like violence. Remember what I just said. Remember that. I'm sorry to call you out on this, Jug, but remember the words I just said.
Wait. You mean an ex-wrestler who doesn't like violence?
No, he's not a violent man. Not a violent bone in his body. Until you hear what his general does. Okay, so as far as the USA general goes, Juggernaut is a very, very fun general. I would love to play him in real life because he has so many advantages. So let's start off. Juggernaut keeps basically all the regular infantry he does. He keeps the Rangers, which means he can repel, rob things. The laser defenders, which are able to blow things. Snipers, and of course he keeps the good old-fashioned Colonel Bird. But Juggernaut also adds another character. He gains the Engineer. So what the Engineers are is they're nothing. They're just guys who like to come out and dig and spread landmines and anti-air mines, anti-tank mines. They can dig in trenches so soldiers can hide in them and stay stealth while they're attacking. Oh, did I mention he has a really good skill where he can help destroy buildings too? Juggernaut can set these engineers can set tremor charges on buildings, which will shake the very foundation underneath them and everything else, and just boom, take down buildings. So Juggernaut's of course the pacifist of the group. I say as I'm gently tiptoeing over the land mines and trying not to set off any of the sky mines or anything like that. Now to the vehicles.
Yeah, my ass.
The first thing we have up is called the Wheeljack Humvee. So what the Wheeljack Humvee is, it's a very interesting vehicle. It has a very large drill in the front of it. It has treads instead of regular tires that go. He's got 2 treads on top, and 2 at triangular angles, like a triangle. And what the Wheeljack Humvee does, it's a standard Humvee, hold soldiers in it, they can shoot out of it, but what it can do is it can burrow underground, which of course leaves a tunnel network. And then when it comes back above ground, it creates another tunnel network, which allows Juggernaut to spread his soldiers far and wide. Once again, the pacifist. Did I mention, of course, that the Wheeljack does bonus damage to structures? Couldn't imagine why with a giant drill on top of it. Now, here's an interesting one. I like this one. So picture, if you will, you're sitting there, you're guarding your base, and you see this bright reddish, orangish, yellowish tank. And then you realize that's a tank on the tank, like an aquatic tank. And then you see this big, looks like a giant squirt gun. And then suddenly, your base is being coated with magma. So this is Juggernaut's magma belcher, an interesting, peaceful weapon, completely pacifistic. So the magma actually instantly kills infantry. It's actually an anti-infantry, but it will damage vehicles and everything like this. But the real fun secret of it is after a few seconds of firing, that area begins to cool down. It will actually create lava structures that have left to cool even longer, become obsidian walls, which then you have to break down. Now, this doesn't sound too bad. Do you realize that Juggernaut can use these vehicles to trap you in your base and then burrow through up at you? Completely pacifistic, of course. Then, of course, this is a tank that we found. We found the picture of it, and we just call it the FAFO tank, or the Ground Find Out tank. So basically, it's a modified flak cannon tank. No, it's not. Sorry, it's a shell-fed shotgun tank. Literally looks like a freaking shotgun on this thing. So basically, it has 3 types of rounds. One that shoots buckshot, which is good against infantry and aircraft. Yes, this thing can fire on aircrafts. Then it's got slugs, which are good against, well, everything that they come in contact with, basically. But definitely heavier tanks and structures. Once again, structures, structure damage. And then it's got dragon breath. So if you can imagine how a dragon breath round usually looks, and then measure it to about a 75mm cannon, yeah, you can imagine what this thing does. So let's say on the other side of it.
But pacifistic.
But he's a pacifist, yes.
I'm not aiming to kill. I'm aiming to suppress.
I'm going to suppress you by lighting you on fire. Now, this was the first vehicle he made up, and I still think...
Now, I know I've been lit on fire, but that's not quite pacifistic. Just saying.
Yeah. So this is an interesting vehicle. I actually like this vehicle. So this is one of Juggernaut's most dangerous vehicles, and as such, I really have to put a key theme on this thing. It's called the Mole Tank. As you can imagine, yes, it can drill into the ground. And yes, it can create tunnel networks as well. You notice a theme here. But it has an ability called Dig In, where it can actually burrow itself backwards into the ground, which will increase its defense, as well as aiming the cannon up to basically change its regular cannon into an artillery piece cannon. So with these guys, he can dig backwards, aim up, and start firing at you guys from far, far, farther away. Completely pacifistic, of course.
Uh-huh.
Now we have another fun one. This is called the Tunnel Maker. So as you can imagine, this thing specializes in making tunnels. It has a giant drill in front of it. But what really sucks about this thing is its artillery piece. It fires a large explosive round that burrows into the ground and creates another tunnel network wherever it lands. Now, a tunnel network can hold 12 soldiers / infantry / vehicles inside of it, which means once that thing lands, Juggernaut just has to push the evacuation button, and now you have 12 vehicles bursting out of this thing, firing at everybody. Don't ask us how it works. It's Command and Conquer General physics, okay? But don't worry, there's worse. There's worse.
There's always worse.
So first of all, let's bring out the only vehicle that Juggernaut has right now that we can officially say did exist and it's become modified. It's called the Ontos. The ONTOS 97. This is one of Juggernaut's most dangerous weapons and basically how he says you to the aircrafts. Imagine, if you will, 4 shotguns that fire rapidly. They don't ignore. You can't stop them with a pinpoint defense. And you're not fast enough to outrun them. These basically pepper the sky with rounds, and if you happen to be anywhere within, say, here, it's going to hit you. Not here, not here, not here. Here. Juggernaut also has, which I found out these are actual real vehicles. I actually found out these are real landmine cannons. I found out they were actually used by Russia. So basically what it does is it fires a charge into the ground that once it detonates, flings a bunch of landmines everywhere. And then after about 30 seconds, all the landmines are. The sad thing about this thing, though, is Juggernaut can actually change the type of landmine he puts in it. So he can fire anti-infantry landmines, anti-vehicle landmines, trimmer landmines, or anti-air mines. And by the way, they actually do exist. Anti-air landmines actually do work. They're just kind of weird. Me and Juggernaut were looking them up. They're kind of like, they sit on the ground. I have like a big old radar dish atop of them, and when they lock onto a vehicle that's not one of yours, they fire a rocket up at it. So they exist. I did not know they existed. Next up, we come with Juggernaut's Super Tank. Now, once again, Super Tanks are the biggest, strongest, nastiest things you can have. So here we have the Centipede Tank. The best way to describe this is imagine a drill in the front, a drill in the back of a very large armored train. Best way I can describe it. So this thing is nasty because this thing has 3 different advantages to it. First of all, whenever it burrows into the ground, it leaves behind a special type of base defense. So rather than just leaving a regular tunnel network, it leaves behind a fire-based tunnel network. These are artillery pieces with tremor shells, which cause the ground to explode up underneath, and can hold 3 soldiers at a time. So every time this thing goes down or comes up, it builds another one of those. Big nasty advantage right there. He can basically go underground, up, down, and just build these things wherever he wants to. So he can cover your base with a lot of landmine, with a lot of artillery pieces if it's not careful. The second advantage.
I can't wait to get one.
Can't wait to get one. The second advantage his Centipede Tank has is while it's underground, if it feels like it can just basically shoot some drills, it will then lay the ground with landmines, or anti-air mines, or tremor mines, etc., etc. He's pacifistic, remember? Remember?
No.
Listen. I'm not killing them. It's.
Thank you, Saw.
I don't.
Thank you, Saw. Thank you,
I'm
Saw.
not. I'm not killing them. If they happen to step on a landmine, that's their own fault.
Hey, Jigsaw.
Hey, you didn't have to step on a landmine. You chose to step on the landmine.
Yeah.
Freaking Jugger Saw over here. Freaking the next Jigsaw movie is going to be called Jugger Saw.
They could have watched where they were going.
Third and final, and this was something I added at the end because I thought Juggernaut needed a little bit more. Yes, like he needs more. So I actually stole an idea from an old Nintendo game. So, well, all this thing's on the surface, it has a very long-range cannon on it. It allows him to take out enemies from a distance, but I couldn't just think shells. As much as I wanted to do tremor shells, I thought of something even worse. So I give you crash shells. Crash shells fire a spiraling, high-speed, drill-tipped bomb that drills into a target and then detonates. However, if it misses the target, it drills into the ground and then deploys a few landmines around it. Basically, even more targets for him to fire around at you. He can fuck around and find out, or just miss and lay landmines everywhere.
Pacifist.
Yeah, completely pacifistic, of course.
Again. It's not my fault.
Juggersaw, we don't need to hear this again.
I would really like to hear his excuse for the next three.
Oh, I'm intrigued now.
So now we're moving on to Juggernaut's Air Force. This includes the Tremor Deployer, the GPR Bat, and the Dark Star.
I heard that last one, but I don't know what it does yet.
Don't worry about the Dark Star quite yet.
The Tremor Deployer is a fast-moving replacement to the Aurora. Basically, what it does is it flies over to a location and drops 2 bombs to that location. After a few seconds, through the air, they detonate in midair and sprinkle a lovely covering of Tremor landmines and anti-air landmines over an area. Now, if you know anything about Aurora bombers, when they fly in, they're immune to all damage until they drop their payload and come back. So these things are coming in, they're deploying their landmines, and even if you shoot them down, it's already too late. $2,500 well spent. Well, as far as C&C generals goes, it's probably like 2.5 million actually, or probably 25 million actually.
Yeah,
Oh wait, it gets even better. He has the GPR Bat. Now this is an interesting one. So it's a helicopter. Well, a drone helicopter thing. I can't really describe it. It's a VTOL. It's a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. This thing allows him to detect stealth, mark stealth objects, so he can actually leave a deployment sticker around so people know where they are. He can also detect metal geodes, which he can then dig up with all his digging units. But the big thing about this thing is the terrifying part. It can actually reduce the range of other radars of detection. Just from it being in the area, as soon as you step into its range, your range is halved. Which means it's that much harder for you to detect Juggernaut coming at you, and that much harder for you to avoid the other aircraft that's coming at you. Or should I say, his replacement to the stealth bomber, aka the Dark Star. This requires Juggernaut to build his weapon of mass destruction, aka super weapon, before he can even build these. So just to give you an example, Necro, that's how strong this thing is. These one-shot bombers are stealth, high speed. They fly into a location and deploy an EMP generator at the target location, which after 3 seconds begins shooting out discharges of EMP, aka shutting down all enemy vehicles and buildings that can be found in the area until it is destroyed or a minute and a half pass. Let me remind you, if one of these things flies into your base and you don't notice it, your base is getting shut down. And so are any of your vehicles.
Pacifistic.
That is a pacifistic weapon. That's it.
That's pacifistic.
Introducing his first pacifistic vehicle.
Yeah, until the rest of the army decides to say, hey, now you can come in and wipe out your whole army.
As your second pacifistic vehicle, the GPR Bat is also unarmed. Now let's get into a few other noteworthy vehicles of his and stuff like this. First of all, his fire base. If you know what a fire base is, they're a small artillery location which allows you to put 4 soldiers around it. It has a long-range artillery piece. Very nasty, don't get hit by them. Juggernaut took this to a level and then cranked that level up to 10 and then plugged in Metallica twice. And just a little bit of meatloaf. So his fire base can only hold 3 infantry. Okay, so
my fire base is playing Master of Puppets.
You and Necro. Not only is his fire base a big long-range target, but it also fires tremor shells. So once again, what a tremor shell is it burrows on the ground and starts to cause earthquakes, which cause, even if it missed you, it didn't miss you. Because once those waves start coming through, you're going to get thrown up, minor damage, major damage, depends on where you are in the earthquake. Juggernaut's Patriot missiles. Now remember how I told you to remember these things because they seem familiar, right? So Juggernaut's Patriot missiles are tremor missiles. They burrow under the ground, like a certain base defense Necro has. Completely stealth until they pop out of the ground and fire tremor missiles, which cause more earthquakes. Kind of like Necro's Scud systems. And look, a 3-man bunkerable long-range base capable of causing damage and massive pacifistic problems. Wait, what does Necro have? Oh, he's got a 3-man bunker that has the ability to spread a gas that causes massive pacifistic issue. Oh my! No, of course these guys never spoke with each other. Of course not.
No, we haven't.
Necro trades out Juggernaut trades off the cold fusion reactor with the geothermal plant, which of course once one of those are built, he can start building his magma belchers everywhere, which you don't want. You don't want, because here's the fun thing. His magma belchers can be made, but as an added effect that I think is funny, and I do think it's funny, his magma belchers will also every 3 minutes come crawling out of one of his geothermal plants as a way to dissipate the heat. Totally pacifistic. Now for an interesting one. This is the middle finger to all three of us, so I'm going to give you guys the middle finger. Well, I guess this is the middle finger to me and Necro. So Juggernaut's got rid of his supply center, you know, the $2,500 every 2 minutes. And now he makes about 10 cash every 30 seconds. Not a lot, you know. But what this new little buddy here does, the blackout node, is shields his entire area around it. So you can't lock on with anything. No general powers. No super weapons. Nada. So in order for you to even begin attacking his base, you have to make a direct attack and destroy these things so that you can start attacking his base. That's a pacifistic ability. I like it. Oh, and Juggernaut's special ability is the worm virus. Now, the hallucinogen gas virus, what it does, or gas from Necro, what it does is once it starts getting into Necro's or the enemy buildings, they start creating vehicles for Necro. It's nasty. What Juggernaut does is just takes over. For about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how far he is in his general powers, Juggernaut has full control over the facilities and begins pocketing money. That's right. Jug actually literally begins to hack them and causes them to pay him to turn off the hack. Meanwhile, Juggernaut is, of course, buying out every vehicle and soldier he can and running them back to his base, so he has even a bigger army on his side. Wait a minute. Why does that sound familiar? The hallucinogen gas, which has them handing over money and sending troops, and Juggernaut being able to hand them. Something seems... You know what I'm trying to say, guys?
Coincidental.
Coincidental.
Very
coincidental.
good. It's very coincidental.
Oh, coincidental, my left narm.
Now, keep in mind, I made my army before Necro did.
And the only thing I knew prior to making my army, which I made with them, is that Jug was done with his army, and that was it.
Yep.
Other than knowing his centipede tank.
Now, ironically, both Necro's army, the GLA, and Juggernaut's army, the Americans, the USA, have so much in common with each other. It feels like they copy-pasted and then erased here and there. I'm just saying, from a point of view, they both do these things. Both control areas very easily. Both screw with their opponents in non-lethal ways. Juggernaut.
I claim to be completely lethal.
And of course, they can non-lethally super weapon their enemy bases. Ta-da! But they're complete opposites.
I will give you
that. Juggernaut is definitely the more I'm going to control the field general, where Necro's more of the come and get me, big boy. Come make your daddy talk, because I'll make you talk louder. Now, that being said, I had a big problem ahead of me. First off, I already had an idea of what I wanted to do with my general. But I had to scrap one or two ideas. So, if you guys want to stop watching now, you can. Nothing else to see here, folks. Just got to do just a little bit of R and a little bit of D. So, I work for the Reds. Luckily, because of my heritage, of course, Russia and Japan, you know. So, I am the Research and Development General. I have the ability to switch out weapons and gear on all my soldiers. I have the ability to screw with my opponent with different weapons, defenses, etc. And my super weapon is completely autonomous, and I don't have to do anything with it. That being said, unlike these two gentlemen, I require a ton of money. I am a very late game unit, or late game, so early game I'm going to get my butt handed to me if I'm not careful. And I have to micromanage a lot. A lot of micromanaging. A lot of click, 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 click. Where Juggernaut might go click, 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 and Necro might go click, click, click. I'm going, no, 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 Sweat go nowhere. No, no. So the R&D general specializes in upgrades and research and development and all that kind of stuff. So we'll start off with my basic infantry, which is the R&D infantry stalker and the R&D vehicle hunter. These guys are armed with different types of weapons, the XM8 for the infantry stalker and the XM25 for the vehicle hunters. Basically, what they do is they gain upgrades throughout time, including things such as healing over time, stealth, better armor, some of them can deploy landmines, etc. So it's just basically they can switch out their weapons. For instance, the vehicle hunter can switch from exploding thermobaric bombs to flak explosives to mine deploying explosives. And the XM8, aka the infantry stalker, can switch between assault rifle form for basically everything, shotgun form for anti-infantry, grenade launcher form for anti-structures, and XM8 sniper form for stealth kills. I have replaced my hackers with programmers. They don't hack, they just make programs. Like, they were the inventors of MySpace. They made ICQ. That's their get down. I then have my Black Lotus, who's been replaced by White Lotus. White Lotus specializes in being able to spot enemies and call down tier 3 general powers at random. They can be offensive, they can be defensive, or they can even summon enemy units. It's completely random what she gets. She doesn't get everything. So one time she might call down a crop duster strike. One time she might accidentally summon a tunnel network in the middle of a bunch of armed soldiers. Which would be bad for her because, well, if she doesn't have another tunnel network, that tunnel network is just going to get blown up as a waste of time. From here, we'll go through my vehicles. I have to be careful because Juggernaut can be easily triggered by what's after my vehicles. So I have my R&D mobile base. This allows me to craft drones and craft weapon platforms. And it's also a supply center. I have my R&D Unger 4x4. The UNGR is actually an actual vehicle that exists. It's actually being sold by the UNGR company. If you feel like it, you can look it up. It would be, if you want to take a look at them, they're at www.ingardefence.com or www.inguarddefense.com. These guys come in two modes. They come in the 4x4 and they come in the 6x6. Basically, they're armored vehicles. My 4x4s come with 4-man bunkers, and a special lid allows them to shoot down artillery and missiles and rockets. And the R&D Ungar 6x6 has a 90mm artillery cannon. Each one holds 4 soldiers, so you guys better be careful because I'm bringing a lot of friends to the party, which will end up being hallucinated, gassed, or blown up by landmines. So, you know, I'm in a bit of a pickle. I'm probably the weakest of the generals. My modular defense tank, it comes with two soldier firing ports and an EMPC defense weapon, aka the stop everything from hitting us weapon, except for cannons, sadly, and landmines, poisonous gas, thermobaric charges. I'm in trouble. The fun thing about my modular defense tank and my modular bunker tank is they're basically my own base defenses on wheels, or treads for that matter. And they have small little generators on them, so it doesn't cost my base anything for them. Now for my 3 little drones. That's right, I have drones. I have the R&D assault drone, the R&D defense drone, and the R&D scarab drone. A quick rundown of what they are is that the assault drone is designed for, it's a little 4-legged, yep, it's a 4-legged drone designed for assault. They're capable of climbing up cliffs. They come with a recoilless rifle and twin anti-armor missiles. And they can be upgraded with the Alpha upgrade, the Beta upgrade, and the Gamma upgrade, which makes them far, far worse each upgrade. In short, as I get the upgrades, they evolve and become even more dangerous. At the beginning of the game, they're just an annoyance. Just something that you can swat. And then eventually, they start bringing flak cannons into the battle. Stealth systems. Generating aura. Regenerating armor. Pinpoint defense systems. My defense drones have a 40mm artillery piece on them and an EMP rocket system that allows them to shut down vehicles. And by the end of the game, they gain Avenger lasers and napalm launchers, which basically lets them screw with everything that comes at them. And my R&D scarabs are actually flying. They fire lightning caster rockets, which if enough of them hit one area, they create thunderstorms, which rain down death and destruction on anything below them. And twin anti-armor missiles. And by the time they're done with their upgrades, they'll also have EMP missiles, napalm missiles, and anti-air mine deployment.
But they're not planes.
They're not planes, they're little drones. And unfortunately, even at max level, Juggernaut would be able to blow them up with his anti-air mines, so they're not that dangerous. They're just numerous and annoying, much like most of my units. Now, Juggernaut, unfortunately, I have an airplane.
Okay.
Planes.
You know, just to give you guys the other day, Juggernaut, when he was awake, he was like, planes, 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 the planes, boss! And I was just like, screw you. So my R&D MiG is a weapon that I stole some of the components from King Raptors, which are the Air Force Generals units. They're stealth. They have a pinpoint defenses, which allows them to shoot down missiles and rockets. And they deploy lightning caster missiles, and they deploy a radar, and then when they fly away, they fire radar reducing flares, which means it's hard for you to see them after they run away, and once they get out of range, they're gone. And if enough of their lightning caster missiles hit an area, of course, they create thunderstorms. Then we have my Vulture gunship. It's replaced for the Helix. It's medium size, can carry 6 infantry inside of it who can fire from it. And it has one of 4 different forms. Dragon mode, which lets its main cannon fire phosphorus shells and gives it 4 napalm missiles and a napalm bomb. Storm mode, which allows it to fire EMP shells. It gains 4 lightning caster missiles and an EMP bomb. Siege mode, my favorite. That causes the main cannon to fire an explosive shell and grants it 2 40mm mortar cannons and a mind layer bomb. So, long range.
Sorry, watching the animals behind you too.
Ah, okay. And then finally the R&D mode. Why do I have mode down twice? R&D mode.
Mode.
This gives it an additional...
Mode.
It gives it an additional Gatling cannon, an EMC field, a pinpoint defense laser, and an EMPC defensive weapon. Basically, if you aren't shooting bullets at this thing, you're not going to take it down. Which, luckily for you guys, you have ways around that as well. Then I have my modular support drone. They're small little drones that fly around. Drone, not plane drone. And they build, repair, carry supplies, etc. My R&D command center starts with radar, so I don't have to research it. My nuclear power plant has been replaced with the green R&D plant, which is basically you bring us your pollution and we turn it into energy, which is kind of the gimmick of my group. We're all research and development. Let me just, I need to speed up. I need to go ahead a little here in this one, though. My R&D subliminal towers, they detect stealth, but enemy units who get within range of them have their fire rate reduced. They also heal enemies. My modular defend platform, which is part of my modular defense tank. It allows me to change its type from anti-infantry to anti-armor to anti-air to anti-artillery to even a fog package, which basically allows the fog of war to come back. AKA, if once you leave the area, you don't know what's going on in that area anymore. My modular
So
bunk.
he cloned me with a whole bunch of vapes and called it a day.
No. Actually, technically, I cloned Juggernaut. It's a weaker version of his GPS. It's a weaker version of his black out node.
I was saying, vape.
Oh yeah. This one just shoots a cloud up into the sky. Then I have my modular bunkers, which allow for it to be sat in it. Beat you guys out. I have one more than you guys. I can be upgraded into the assault package, which gives it 3 assault drones that stay inside of it. Defense package, defense drones, scarab package, scarabs, drones, and the shadow package, which grants it a large sight radius. It can detect stealth, and it can call in random tier 1 general powers whenever an enemy is sighted. This is where you guys will notice something about my group. So, now that I've brought that up, let me give you my other thing. My supply center is now the R&D App Cafe. It can hold 4 programmers that slowly create and manage apps and programs, making money over time, and they research upgrades. And of course, you can bring stuff to the supply center if you want to. Then there's my R&D Black Center. The structure can protect and hold up to 6 programmers, which makes some money out of it, and research upgrades. But once I have 6 programmers in it, it will target a random enemy location every 2 minutes, and it will shoot a random tier 1 superpower against it, general power. I can have up to 5 of these, which means that every couple minutes, something's happening inside your base now. But I can't control them. It just happens. Then we have my R&D. Then we have my Shadow Web Center. Holds 8 programmers. Upgrades, monies, stealth, just like the other ones. And every 3 minutes, it can use a tier 3 general power. So as you can see, once again, they target whatever they feel is the biggest threat with their own powers. So you can have anything from artillery barrages to enemy attacks to sandstorms. Actually, you can't have those yet because, of course, I'd be talking about a tier 5 general power. And, of course, tier 3 is not tier 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So my super weapon is called the Shadow Emperor. The structure holds up to 10 programmers who can research it, make money out of it, of course. It's stealth just like the others.
Yeah, dude, tier 5.
Yep, every 4 minutes it launches a random tier 5 general power. This could be things like, well, I don't know, a giant sandstorm in the ground that bursts up, coats the entire area and damages everything in it. Perhaps create a tunnel network inside of it, you know, as if somebody who has a digging capability would be capable of performing such a deed. Who's a digging general? Who's the digging?
Me.
Oh, that's right. I can steal your powers too. See how I put it. How I put it is basically my programmers eventually get a hold of somebody's phone, and then eventually get online in your base. And before your base can realize it, we've hacked one of your general powers and then used it. And now, mind you, these general powers don't have to be your general powers. Like, they won't take it away. Like, Necro, if you have a spy drone, I won't steal your spy drone.
Right.
But if I use a spy drone, it's not your spy drone, it's my spy drone. Which is technically your spy drone that I bought out and stole. So the basic idea of my group is that thanks to our abilities to swap out our weapon systems, we can basically change to meet the current attack. So let's say someone comes at us with a lot of air force, I can change my soldiers to have a lot of anti-air. Someone comes at us with a lot of sneaky things, I can have my guys ready to detect stealth, etc., etc., etc. Basically, this allows me to be a Swiss Army knife, but much like a Swiss Army knife, I am not a butcher knife, I am not a screwdriver, and I'm not a corkscrew.
No.
I'm not the best at what I do. But you see, all that research is, though, it does have an advantage. So by the end of the game, I will have 5 structures that fire random tier 1 general powers every minute, every minute. So you'll have soldiers dropping in, spy drafts, money being taken at random, etc., etc. That's 5 of those. Then you could have things like landmine fields laying on you, artillery strikes. Suddenly there's 2 Emperor Overlords in your base that are on my side for some reason. Every 3 minutes, and I can have 3 of those. And then, every minute, who knows what happens? Maybe a nuclear bomb hits your base. Maybe a particle cannon goes and dances across your energy generators. Maybe you hear Darude's Sandstorm start playing and suddenly the entire base is blanketed with sand that's ripping your buildings apart. I don't know. They're all picked at random by the AI. Oh, don't forget my base defense has the ability to do the same damn thing. However, that being said, I do have weaknesses. Juggernaut does have weaknesses. And Necro does have weaknesses. Each one of us can easily get steamrolled if we're not careful. Juggernaut's biggest weakness comes from the GLA. Because the GLA are fast, they don't require a lot of money, and they can march into a base at supersonic speed. That being said, if you're a Chinese army or a USA army, he's probably going to clap you. Clap on, and then your life support. Clap off. Necro's the GLA, but how Necro works is very evil and mean, and you've got to be very careful. Necro has a lot of units that can climb up cliff sides, a lot of stealth units. Nope. 1 second. What was that, guys? Be right back. What was that, Cody?
Talk amongst yourselves.
No,
Brains.
we're not in the 7 days to
Thanks,
die.
Cody.
Brains.
Somebody else.
You don't have any.
The dang
I have brains.
Cody cut off. I thought somebody was at the door. Excuse me, sorry about that. Excuse me, everyone. Sorry. Wife's not home, so I had to go answer the door. Where was it? Oh, yeah, so Necro is really good early game, and you give him enough time, and he'll just dominate end game. You want to hit him mid game. As for me, you could probably kill me before I become a threat. And if you don't, that was your mistake. Because the one thing you need to know about my programmers is this, and this is the scary part. Every time my programmers go up 1 chevron, there's 3 chevrons, by the way. There's 0, 1, 2, and 3. They speed up everything they do, which means they get more money, they get faster, and they reduce the cooldowns of all my general power weapons. So at level 0, it takes 5 minutes for me to fire off my tier 5 power. And when they're all those guys in there are level 3, it only takes 3 minutes to fire it off. My 3-minute general powers can be reduced to 45 seconds. And my 1-minute general power can be reduced to a measly 20 seconds. Now suddenly you realize just how dangerous I can be. Because guess what? Your base defenses will not stop general powers from coming into your base. I mean, I guess you could shoot down planes if there's bomber planes coming in or something like that, but and you remember my best part is you remember that part where I mentioned the random power, the random general. That doesn't mean I have to steal from you two guys. I have my programs in everyone's pockets. I am Apple. I am iPhone.
Because I don't use them. I use the Android.
No, don't worry. All your vehicles use Windows.
Hey, you said you're Apple.
I thought I was
You didn't
Apple.
say you're Microsoft.
I did afterwards. You have to listen to the whole thing.
Oh.
I am Apple. I am iPhone. I am them all. I am the app maker. Would you like to play Dragon Quest? On your phone? For free? And suddenly now you're being scripted into my army to attack the other enemies. What happened? I don't know. But hey, you got to play Dragon Quest for free on your phone, right? Hey. I am
I don't
all
download apps like
I am all the evils of the world in one. However, I'm going to be completely
so you're
honest with you. Completely honest with you. Juggernaut scares me. Of all the generals, it's Juggernaut that scares me the most. Necro scares me, don't get me wrong. But Juggernaut, his characters have too much mobility.
yeah.
I shouldn't scare people.
Oh, sure, in your
Why? Because
non-pacifistic ways, like your giant shotgun tanks, your landmines everywhere, your bombers that detonate areas, shutting down the power to
Don't worry.
my grandmother's
Don't
pacemaker because she's in with range of your EMP bomb.
don't worry about those.
Don't worry about all of those. That was their decision to die on those days. That was their... No, Joe, that's not how it works, and you know it.
yeah, saw jug.
Yeah, Jugger Saw. Instead of Jigsaw, Jugger Saw. Pretty twisted designs for a guy who considers himself a pacifist, huh, guys? Seriously.
Ha ha
I'm
ha.
just saying, like, I look through your army, Jug, and I'll be honest, I can't really see much in your army that does not scare me. The fact that you can create literally countless tunnel networks on the map, and you don't need a bulldozer or a general power to do it. Literally drive one of your tanks around the map for a few minutes, and suddenly you've got potholes everywhere. It's quite literally the Jugger hole from our original series of 7 Days to Die. Even you don't know which way all those tunnels go. But you do know that when you come out at some place, somewhere, sometimes some enemy is going to get a wild ass kicking. And by the time they report back to base, they'll turn around and you'll be gone because you've gone back down the Jugger tunnel to another one. And by the time I've destroyed one of your Jugger tunnels, you've already built 3 more.
And GPS doesn't work down there.
Yeah, it'd be hard to detect you. Especially with your damn GPR bats flying around. Reducing everybody's scanning range, you know. Screw you. Screw you, Juggernaut. But like I said, I can't say no to Necro because Necro's even more annoying. Basically, if Necro gets one of your vehicles back to his base, he can actually have them go into his black market, literally drive them in, and then he can build those units out of his black markets. Which means he can steal all your best vehicles, all my best vehicles, and attack. You guys just have to be able to be very, very smart in your decision-making skills. If the 3 of us were to go after each other, the question I have to ask you guys is this. Who would you go after first? Would it be the R&D general, the medical general, or the tunnel general? Who would be your first target?
I'd go after you, Kyle, first.
Why? Why me?
Because I don't want to see you late game.
I don't want to see Juggernaut early game or you early game. What about you, Jug?
Get away from my base. Get away from my base.
You're on my base. I know you're a pacifist, Jug, but who would you with first?
I'd probably go after whoever attacked me first.
So you go after Necro.
But Necro said he'd go after you first.
Yeah, but then once I'm gone, who's Necro going to go after?
Me.
If you didn't remember, my good friend, I'm a reach out and touch me kind of guy. I'm going to reach out and touch you from miles away with my long distance calls. Early game, I don't have much to defend myself with. Late game is when I'm a threat. Early game, Necro doesn't have a lot to defend himself with either. But he can.
Nope.
And Juggernaut, you have plenty you can defend yourself with. I'm just going to say mole tank and stop with just that. going to stop with the mole tank before I have to go any further than that. So, I know I've done this before in the past, and I've enjoyed doing this before in the past. So, one more thing real quick before we go, and we'll call this a night. So, we're going to play a game. Everyone likes playing games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to play the Destroy and Steal game. Juggernaut, you'll be up first. You have the option to choose from both me and Necro. You can choose one unit that you would steal and one unit that you would destroy. So we couldn't use them anymore. For me, it's very difficult for Juggernaut. It's easy for Necro, but it's very difficult for Juggernaut because there's so many of his things I'd want to destroy. So many things, and Necro has so many things I want to steal. So, you guys both suck tonight. You guys did.
I would want to steal Necro's launcher with the vacuum bombs.
His thermobaric cannon. Okay. And what would you want to destroy so you'd never have to see it? This includes like
That's
base
tough.
defenses and things like that, too, super weapons, etc. You can pick, you know.
What would you like to destroy for me, Juggernaut?
His super weapon.
Pretty smart. Okay. Now you can just ignore little old me, and you can just move on if you want.
Go to him. Right there. Right there. I'm poking.
Smack out.
To be honest, I don't know what I would want to steal or destroy from you, Kaiju.
Well, I could definitely suggest that if you'd want to destroy anything of mine, from a personal belief of this old man here, I'd probably want to get rid of one of my drones. The Scarab Defense and Assault Drone are all really annoying. They're basically what I'm going to use to defend myself in the early game. Basically, I think I would probably try to steal the Scarab Drone and get rid of the Defense Drone. Because the problem with all my units is they can change so quickly.
Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah. And of course, we could just say you want to destroy my Shadow Emperor just to get it over with, because, you know, a tier 5 super weapon coming at your face every 3 minutes, you know, sucks.
Right. I'll steal your Scarab drone.
Don't take my everything missile drone.
I'll destroy your General 5 power if
the
able.
Shadow Emperor.
Yeah.
That's not fair. All right, Neko, you're up next.
Okay, so from Jug.
Yes.
I would like to destroy his black pods there.
His blackout nodes. I saw that one coming, Jug. I saw that one coming.
Oh yeah. So did I.
I would love to steal your which I plan on doing anyway, but hey, that's besides the point. But your centipede there.
He's gonna shoot out your pilot and steal your centipede tank and start making them. That's what he wants to do. Myself, I am definitely different from Necro on this one. I'm definitely different from Necro on this one. Okay, first of all, what one would I want to destroy? I want to destroy your worm virus super weapon.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of you taking all my R&D stuff away. That's the biggest middle finger you can give me. I can't have that happening. And what I want to steal, believe it or not, I actually want to steal your Humvees. Your Landjacker Humvees. They're not as good as your Centipede tank, no, but they're cheaper. And I can load them up with my own troops, and my troops can alter their weapons, so I can have different Humvees digging on the ground and popping up. It would be great.
See, one of the things I'm surprised neither one of you would want to try and get my Dark Star.
Well, I would love to steal it. I really would.
Mhm.
But just like, okay, so the Dark Stars are nasty, okay? And your super weapon does basically the same thing. However, your super weapon can do it every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Your Dark Stars cost 4,000 apiece, so if I can shoot one of them down, that's $4,000 less than you have. But in order for me to get to your damn super weapon, I have to go through your army of everything. Your landmines, cannons, artillery pieces, little old ladies and cookies sales, Girl Scout parties. I don't know what else you're running, okay? Your pacifist ways, and I'm not going to try and break through those defenses, which might as well be the walls of iron with a rubber stick. I'm not going to do it. You have to come to me, and if your airplanes come to me, then I can shoot them down. I can't shoot down your super weapon. It doesn't move. It's a giant stealth, self-reclaimed radar dish. Or sorry, cannon. It just fires a shell, and if I'm lucky, I can remember where it landed, and I can go and shut it off real quick. And if I'm unfortunate to not know where it lands, well, then I'm screwed either way. But I would rather take out that thing, because if I can take that thing out, you can't build your bombers anymore. So by deleting it, I get rid of your damn Dark Stars. As for
Kyle,
Necro,
I know who
Florida Man.
I know what I want to take out from you.
Oh, what do you want to take out from me?
Your goddamn hackers.
Oh, my programmers! No, not my programmers.
Yes! Yes!
There goes half my freaking army's capabilities right there. You can't do that to me.
I can't.
Jeez, now all I am is a giant walking army of drones and weapons that can reconfigure ourselves to take on any threat. Oh no.
Yes, but at least I'm not having random fucking general powers coming at.
Yeah, you got a point there. He does have a point. I have to give him that. He does have a point. Damn it. I didn't think it would be that easy. If you take out the program, there goes like 50% of my buildings right there. They're useless now.
And then I would like to copy your shadow thingy.
My Shadow Emperor?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's gonna kill probably programmers, and then he's gonna shut down my he's gonna steal my damn Shadow Emperor, so he can start dropping tier 5 general powers on everybody. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Now from Dr. No over there. Juggernaut. What should I think about when it comes to Dr. No over here? If I want to take out anything that he controls, I'm going to take out his goddamn white Christmas Zeppelin. That thing has to go down. Artillery pieces launching gas canisters and explosives over my walls at me. I can't live with that. However, it's fine. You can go outside away from Mom. I understand. You hate me. I understand. See, she didn't even say no. Now, what I want to steal from you, that's difficult. I guess I'd steal your eye in the sky. That way I can have even more general powers attacking. I guess. But I'm definitely shutting down his worm virus. So all of our super weapons are gone right now. We've destroyed each other's super weapons. Like in one wipe, all our super weapons are gone. That was what I expected. What I didn't expect is for Necro to steal my programmers. Because I have a he didn't expect to kill my programmers. That's a lot of my powers gone. That's a lot of my abilities gone. That's a lot of my structures gone. That's just mean.
Sorry, I had to.
So next Tuesday, everybody, come join us for our storyboard where we'll explain each of our armies, where we came from, and who we're fighting for. Are we fighting in the name of the God Emperor? Are we for the chaos Are we just some good old boys? We're gonna do some scrapping? Can we not talk? Can we not blink? What do we look like? Peacocks? Who knows? And just a fair warning, but if you're a Warhammer 40k fan, you might want to skip the next month. Yeah, skip the next month's worth of Tuesdays. Oh boy. But until next time, folks, I am that sad Kaiju K.
I'm Necro. Don't make me do this.
Nick,
I'm Jugger. Why not?
Jared. And we will see you all for a nightmare next
Can you
Tuesday.
tell how ecstatic we all are?
I'm not ecstatic because I'm afraid I'm going to be pissing off some hardcore Warhammer fans, and you don't want to do that. Peace out, everybody, and cheers.
Peace.
Later.
The